Most people are told their blood work is normal, but normal is not optimal. I'm Tanya Malik Chawla, and this is Biology by Design. Your biology is not something that happens to you, it is something you design. So let's get started. As I turn 40, my biological age tested, measured, data backed is 27.8. That's a 12-year gap between how old my passport says I am and how old my cells actually are. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how that happened. Not the inspirational version, the biology version. I'm going to show you my actual biomarkers, the exact numbers, what I changed, what the science says, and the framework that made it possible. Because if this was luck, it wouldn't have worked for 700 other people. And it has. I'm Tanya Malik Chawla. I'm a functional medicine and biohacking practitioner and a nutrigenomics researcher. I've been doing this clinically with real patients, real blood work for over a decade. I started this channel on my 40th birthday because this is the year everything I've built privately becomes public. My blood work is publicly available, my genetic variants are published, my protocols and case reports are documented so that you can read, learn, and apply this to your biology. Because I believe that a health practitioner is as good as their biomarkers. If I am asking people to trust my framework, the minimum I can do is show you that this has actually worked on me first. So let's get started. Growing up, I was diagnosed with PCOS and hypothyroid. I was told that both were lifelong conditions that required lifelong medication, and this is where it all began. I also heard something unsaid, the message that my biology was something that happened to me, that my genes had decided, and now my job was just to manage symptoms and accept the outcome. I want to be clear, my doctors were not wrong. By conventional medical standards, what they diagnosed was absolutely correct. They were applying the framework they were trained on. Our basic medical system is designed to diagnose and treat diseases. The conditioning or the training that specialists have is specifically for a given organ, very necessary to keep us alive. But what we miss is that alive is not the same as healthy. And that is why I just didn't accept this framework as the final word. So I did something at that time which felt rather strange. I started treating my health like a business that was underperforming, not asking what drugs treat this symptom, but asking what is the upstream causes of this system imbalances. I wanted to know what data am I missing? What inputs do I need to change to get a different output? And this shift in thinking is what became biology by design. And that is what we are going to walk through today. But before I show you my numbers, I need you to understand what biological age actually measures. Because most people confuse it with how you look or how you feel. Honestly, it's neither. Biological age is a measure of how fast your biology or your body is aging at a cellular level. Specifically, how your cells can repair, regenerate, and maintain function. Now, there are several validated models to measure this. The one that I use primarily is based on PhenoAge developed by Dr. Morgan Levine at Yale. It uses blood markers to calculate your aging pace compared to population averages. Now, the markers it uses includes first albumin, which is a marker for protein status and liver function, creatinine, your kidney efficiency, fasting glucose, which shows your metabolic health, CRP, which is a marker of inflammation, lymphocyte percentage, which shows your immune function, MCV, which is red blood cell health, and RDW, which is a marker for cellular stress and also micronutrient deficiencies. Alkaline phosphatase, which shows liver and bone health, and WBC, which is your immune load. See, these are not exotic tests, right? Most of us get these done on our standard blood panel. Hopefully, you're getting this done periodically. The difference is what you do with the patterns that you see. And here's what most people miss. Your doctor is looking at your results and asking, are you diseased? But biology by design asks a different question. How is your system performing? Normal glucose is not the same as optimal glucose. Normal CRP is not the same as optimal CRP. Just like normal health is not optimal performance. Remember, today Normal is being on statins, BP meds, or metformin for life. Normal is bloated, tired, and inflamed. Normal is aches, pains, and antacids. Normal is managing symptoms. And honestly, I am not interested in normal. And I'm guessing if you're watching this, neither are you. Okay, now these are my current biomarkers, not a client's, my own biomarkers. I've tested this on the 27th of April 2026. My biological age or my pheno age is 27.8. Chronological age, you guys already know, is 40. My fasting insulin is at 1.5. Remember, optimal is below 5. HbA1c is at 4.4%. This is the average blood glucose over the last 3 months. Optimal is below 5%. HSCRP, which is a marker of inflammation, is at 0.3. Optimal is below 0.5. This, by the way, is the single number more than any supplement I take. That is the reason why my biological age remains low. APOB is at 70. This, by the way, is more accurate for cardiovascular risk than anything else like LDL or total cholesterol. APOB optimally is below 80. Now, homocysteine is at 12. Optimal is below 9, but I'm still sharing this with you because I want to show you that biology by design isn't about perfect numbers. It's about understanding why a number moved and what are you going to do about it. Homocysteine responds to training load and methylation demand. Now, while I have adjusted my B vitamin complex and reduced stress load accordingly, but keep in mind my MTHFR gene variant makes this very hard to maintain. And that is something I have to constantly work on, but we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a moment. Back to my markers, free T3 is at 3.2. This is the active thyroid hormone, not TSH, not T4. What we should be caring about is free T3. This marker tells you whether your thyroid is actually working at a cellular level. Now, while mine is optimal, but because of my disposition towards hypothyroid, it takes a lot of work to maintain and drops rather quickly if I stop paying attention. RDW is at 13.2. Optimal is below 13.5. Triglycerides, such an important marker, is at 55, optimal below 90. And my WBC is at 5. Your optimal marker should be within 3.5 to 6. My WHOOP age or my WHOOP biological age as of this morning is 28.5, quite consistent with my blood work. But before I tell you what my protocol looks like, I want to tell you what was working against me because that matters. I have a FTO gene variant. This is the gene most strongly associated with obesity. It affects how my body responds to food volume and satiety signals. Also have the GC gene variant, which affects how the body binds and transports vitamin D, which means anybody with this gene variant requires a lot more than standard vitamin D supplementation. So I require higher doses, specific forms, and cofactors so that we get the same results. Now, the other gene variant is MTHFR and MTRR. A lot of you have been hearing about this now. This gene variant affects methylation pathways, and by the way, this drives homocysteine higher, and which means that my detox pathways require a lot more support than average. I also have the CYP450 gene variant. These affect how I process hormones and xenobiotics, which means that my phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox pathways require support. I also have the SOD2 gene variant, which is mitochondrial health, and anybody with this gene variant, their mitochondrial health requires a lot more support. Couple of other variants that make me susceptible to iron deficiency, diabetes, hypothyroid, obesity, and a couple of other ailments. I'm telling you this because the most common response when I share my results is, of course, she must have great genetics. Unfortunately, I don't. But my genetics load the gun. Epigenomics decides whether it fires or what happens with it. And that is the foundation of biology by design. So what actually changed my markers? Let me walk you through this systematically, because eat well and exercise is not the answer. Precision is. So I look at my system every quarter and see what pathways need support, where are the gaps, and then design my protocol accordingly. Let me show you where I'm lagging currently before we dive into the protocol. So I can walk you through how I actually change my protocol every single time my biology changes, because remember, our biology is agile. Right now, My morning cortisol is trending upwards towards 17. Optimal is between 10 and 15. My DHEAS has dropped to 71, which is extremely low for somebody who works out as much as I do. My testosterone has tanked to 25, very low for somebody like me, and below optimal, that should be between 35 to 45 for a woman. See, for women, we mostly think about testosterone as a male hormone that is only associated with PCOS. But actually, it is one of the most important androgens that is important for our health, metabolic health, anabolic response, and confidence. And the biggest problem right now in my biomarkers are my prolactin levels, which are high at 15. Optimal should be between 3 and 10. So, what is this telling me? And this is how we approach our markers. See, metabolic health looks like it's in great shape. Immune response is regulated. Liver and kidney are doing good, so that means micronutrition is on point. But my current work-life workout stress has nudged me into a high stress, low recovery zone. Given this extremely optimized metabolic markers, this is almost catabolic state when I work out. And I see this very, very often with a lot of women, specifically in the perimenopausal phase. Perimenopause can start as early as 35. And when we don't recognize that we need to nourish our body differently, we need to manage stress differently, this is a phenotype that I very often see amongst women above 35 that I work with who are high performers and work out regularly, that they're doing everything right, but their androgens are declining and their cortisol is rising. That means that they have pushed themselves in a catabolic state. So, coming back to my markers, my current protocol has changed from anything advanced to absolutely fundamental. Number one is sleep. Focusing on minimum 8 hours a night, which means following everything from my sleep hygiene protocol, which is available publicly for all of you to see, and shifting the stack to support GABA pathways and sleep. And the second is fueling. This is something I see a lot of you women above 35 getting absolutely wrong by driving or pushing for larger intermittent fasting windows and trying fasted workouts. In this phenotype where I find myself today, fueling before and after my morning training window becomes absolutely essential. What I ensure is getting 25 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbs, and about 6 grams of creatine before my workout. Since workout loads are heavy and intense in terms of resistance training, immediately after the session, I fuel with 30 grams of protein and 30 to 40 grams of carbs with another 6 grams of creatine. And third, something a lot of us miss, I've cut back my stack from anything that focuses on mitochondrial function like NAD IVs or CoQ10, even intermittent fasting, because right now the focus is not on more mitochondrial output, but it is on recovery and rest, which also means I have reduced any stressors. So while lifting intensity doesn't come down, I have removed other stressors like HIITs, cold plunges, intermittent fasting windows so that my biology can focus on recovery. This is how biology by design works. You change the inputs according to the outputs you desire. Early this year, my fasting insulin was at 5.6, and then my focus for the first quarter was on my metabolic health. Results are in front of you. Along with tweaking my supplement stack and biohacking protocol for metabolic health, then what I focused on was getting 2 grams per kg ideal body weight of protein every single day. Strength training with zone 4, zone 5 work, controlled glucose load, and intermittent fasting windows. This quarter, the focus is entirely different. So you see, your stack, your protocol is not guesswork, and it's definitely not following trends. It should be driven by root cause analysis applied to a biological system. And this system is reproducible. Everything I just described follows 4 steps. And these 4 steps is what I call biology by design. Number 1, read. You look at your biomarkers as data and not as disease analysis. You're not asking, am I sick? You're asking, what is my biological system telling me about its current performance? This requires looking beyond standard panels, including markers like fasting insulin, ApoB, LP little a, HSCRP, homocysteine, free T3 markers I see most of you missing in your regular panels. These are the markers that show dysfunction years before disease manifests. Then comes step 2, diagnosis. You find the upstream drivers, not the symptom, the cause. PCOS is never a hormone problem. It can be a metabolic problem, it can be a neuroendocrine problem, it can be gut-driven inflammation problem. Fatigue is not a lifestyle problem. It is often a mitochondrial problem. The system is the smoke. What you need to look for is the fire. And then comes step 3, which is design. You build your protocol, you build your stack from this data. Nutrition, training, sleep, supplementation, nervous system regulation, not somebody else's protocol. Yours based on your markers, your genetic variants, your clinical presentation. This is what personalized health actually means. And then step 4 is iterate. Never miss this because things change. You retest, you track the response. If the markers have moved in the right direction, input stays. If it hasn't, the input changes. Biology is dynamic. Your protocol must evolve with it. 4 steps, 10 years of application, 700 plus cases. This is the system. Now I want to address something specifically for my Indian audience. And for anybody whose biology has been managed by frameworks designed for Western population. See, India has a unique metabolic profile. South Asians develop insulin resistance at a much lower BMI than Western population. We have higher rates of metabolic syndrome at normal weight. Our protein intake as a population is critically low. Even the ICMR Lancet data showed us this. It showed us that most Indians consume less than 0.6 grams per kg of their body weight. The recommended, which is by the way outdated, is minimum at 0.8 grams. The optimal for your metabolic health is 2 grams per kg of your ideal body weight. India is becoming the diabetes capital of the world, not because our genetics are broken, because our protocols are not calibrated to our biology. Look at the Thyronorm situation, for example. Millions of Indians are on Thyronorm, which is a T4 medication, because of which their TSH shows normal, but they're still feeling exhausted, unable to lose weight, losing hair, because free T3 continues to stay sluggish. This is the gap Biology by Design fills. If you want to go deeper than what I share on my YouTube channel, join my community Biology by Design. The link is in the description below. Remember, your biology is not something that happens to you. It is something you design.